I just want to clarify. So Fez, you're also interested in government, right? As a potential concentration.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat. I think like Janet and Anya, I've always been really interested in the social sciences and particularly, public policy, government. But, like all of us, I think I'm definitely exploring whether or not that's a realm I want to continue pursuing.
Mhm. Yeah, and I only ask this, and I'm going to ask this to everyone here, is that you know, all of us are unique in for a reason, right? And there's always some sort of like catalyst for why you decide to pursue what you do pursue, right? Because as hopefully we'll continue to elaborate, Janet, you've worked on your state political spectrum and your political theater. Same thing with so Janet and Anya have both worked on that front, with voter activism or just activism in general, right?
Mhm.
And then like you obviously it's a question that where did this all come from? What's the genesis, right? Where's the page one of your guys' chapter in advocacy? So I want to focus on that. I want to focus on your tenure with political advocacy, and specifically where did that page one flip to page two?
Awesome. I think my page one dates back to my father.
Oh.
So my dad was a political prisoner in Cuba. So he escaped the Castro regime.
Wow.
And so my name actually comes from Janet Reno. You guys know who she is, who was the attorney general under the Clinton administration, because she was the one that signed the papers that let my dad come over to the United States when he was imprisoned in Gitmo. So,
Wow.
um, like, just my dad just growing up around a very politically active household, I think really pushed me to fight when I had seen injustice and stuff like that. And also living in Florida, when Parkland happened, I had a friend who was attending the school. And so that really, was kind of like the setting off. Like I had the background of just like knowing that, you know, I was passionate about human rights, and my father obviously came to the United States because of the freedom of expression and like being able to be in a country where um, his ideas were appreciated just as equally, the whole American dream type of thing. So I just knew I like had to do something, and my parents were super supportive of when I first started my activism, which was Parkland, getting involved with March for Our Lives. And then everything kind of spiraled off of there. I got involved with like immigration stuff because that was passionate to me. I come from a family of immigrants. Voting rights stuff, which I'm still very passionate about and like working with right now with Harvard Votes and Progressive Turnout Project. And so, yeah, I think it really came down to everything about my identity is political. I'm a woman, I'm an immigrant, I'm daughter of a prisoner of war. So, like, everything about my identity is political. And I really saw the chance to make a difference in my community. And I just kind of took it by chance.
And
So,
and
yeah.
to our audience who's listening, not only is Janet unique through all these different lenses, but some of you may not know that she is the youngest person to have run a successful state senate campaign in the state of Florida. So Janet, would you mind explaining what that process was like and how you got involved with it?
Awesome. Yeah. So that whole thing was I was the field director and organizer for a woman named Annette Tadeo, who was my state senator at the time. I had done an internship at her office when I was in my sophomore year of high school. And I became very close to a lot of the constituents that were coming in. And when her time for reelection came around, they were looking for people to hire to basically run all of the field work of the campaign, which means all the voter outreach, on the ground stuff like canvassing, setting up turfs, kind of like all of the dirty work of a campaign, like the like sweat, walking, all of that stuff, organizing. Um, and I wasn't originally being considered until the chief of staff of Annette kind of like looked over at me and was like, you'd be really good. And I was like, I am 16, ma'am.
Mhm.
Like I don't think I can like really do this. And I think I just got really, really lucky to have mentors that really believed in me. And it was a fight to get me hired by the Florida Democratic Party, because it was like I was still 16 at the time, turning 17, and it was sort of a risk to hire somebody to work full-time hours when they were, because of, all of the regulations that there are behind, child
Right.
labor laws. Um, so it was definitely a fight, and it was a really interesting experience, I think. Not only being a young person in a space where it's predominantly obviously older, more experienced people, it really taught me how to present myself and market myself in a way that was useful to me when I didn't have the experience. So, how to make people want to believe in me. Um, and also being in a space where people are predominantly white. um, Florida politics is very predominantly white, predominantly Republican. Not a lot of young people were really involved in politics before 2018. So it was definitely a really interesting experience, and I'm very grateful for it.